Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Left Wing Fruit Podcast. I'm Lucas Jackman, and I'm with Kieran Testa.
Hi there.
And Slater McRae.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about some VR stuff today. So let's start off with the VR gaming, because that's like the most recent stuff that they've shown off, especially at E3 and all that. What are you guys' thoughts of where they're headed?
They have a lot of, for instance, like there's one game I'm actually really excited for that they released was Metroid. They're develop. Well, I don't know if they're releasing. They're developing it right now. Okay. So that'd be a cool game to play. They also have a
Metroid, like Super Metroid, right?
Yeah.
So
or Metroid Prime.
So is Nintendo then doing their own VR?
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't heard anything about that.
Yeah, it was a newer. Like, this was recently, like, I just found this out yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So, like, the article was posted yesterday, so. But also, one of the things, one game it has a Outlast kind of feel to it is, it's called Wilson's Heart.
Which platform is it for?
Yeah.
It's Oculus Rift.
Okay. So
it's an Oculus game? Okay.
Yeah.
It's PC.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
But it's based off. I think it's based off the Twilight Zone.
That's cool.
Thing. So
okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So is it just? Do you know much about the game? Like, is
it? It's obviously first person since it's VR,
mm-hmm.
but practically you're like I guess it's kind of like the same thing where like you're just locked. You're kind of based in like I don't think that's an asylum, but some sort of like you're locked in this. Building and you're trying to escape and like there's freaky stuff going around, like there's this big dude has a real Outlast feel to it because like there's some freaky characters in there that I would not want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Looks pretty spooky.
See, the one thing that I kind of appreciate about VR is that a lot of the games that are out right now are kind of like short, quick experiences.
Yeah.
None of them seem like they're dragging on too long. Like, I'm excited that they're branching out to like Resident Evil 7. They're putting that in VR. So that's going to be like a full game that you can experience in VR.
As far as we know, we don't know.
Yeah, as far as we know. But I also appreciate the fact that a lot of the games that are out right now that you can play on the Oculus and on the Vive are sort of like quick 30-minute, 40-minute experiences. Some even shorter than that. Some are even like 10-minute experiences. And you can quickly play it once, experience it, have a great time, and then you don't really have to worry about it.
I think that's also like just because it's so new that it's harder.
It's harder
to dedicate that much time to something that's so new,
mm-hmm.
and also you don't want to get stuck in there for too long because you don't know what people are gonna. It's kind of a weird thing where as this becomes new and it will become a new big wave. I'm sure we're all sure
mm-hmm.
of it. You'll get people who never leave.
Yeah,
I know, which is kind of scary.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think it's kind of weird. Yeah, like obviously they're gonna have to leave to like eat and all that, like sleep and stuff like that. But like, there's gonna be some people out there, I'm sure of it, that are gonna really like push their body to their limits to keep playing in that world, and that's kind of like a health risk in a sense. And I think that's.
I won't be surprised. Like 10 years down the road, some dude marries his VR. Because he's
marries a character in VR.
Yeah, has his little VR porn going on, and he's in
see
there.
that.
Oh, yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, that's a thing too.
That's actually one of the reasons why VR will be the next thing is because porn has adopted it.
I know.
That's why we watch Blu-rays and things like that.
You can honestly like the thing that I find really cool with VR. You can touch so many things. You can do whatever you want. Like. Honestly, like there's one game I saw that would literally make me shit my pants was the climbing. You can do a climbing one.
Ooh, that's kind of
climbing
scary.
the side of a mountain. I'm like, cool. Man, I would crap myself.
That's pretty cool.
But then you don't die.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think the one thing. I think the one thing that makes VR for me the scariest and sort of the one thing that's kind of drawing me against VR is that in like a game, for instance, like Resident Evil. From what we saw, you didn't have the hand controllers. You're just looking around, and you're using a regular like PlayStation or Xbox controller to move around, right? So you can't like if something jumps out at you, you can't like kind of hide. You have that VR on your head, so you can't avoid that. Yeah, you can't look away. You can't do any of that.
And you can't plug yours because you had a headset on.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing for me is I feel like almost it would get too real in a sense, depending on what game you're playing.
Yeah, I'd imagine there'd be a few broken VRs that hit the floor after people threw them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure. For sure.
It's a shame because they're pretty expensive.
I know. And so Oculus is out right now, and so is Vive. And then you said that Nintendo's working on one.
Yeah, it's working.
And then also Xbox is working on one, and
PlayStation has announced theirs to come out in the fall.
Ubisoft actually is making a game right now that I saw, which I thought was a really cool idea. Was VR. You get with up to 4-person multiplayer. You can command the Star Trek. What's the ship called? Enterprise, yeah.
Oh,
wow, that's cool.
That's really cool.
That's cool.
See, I like the fact that they're taking us to these worlds that we've always wanted to actually be a part of, like Star Trek and Star Wars.
Yeah, once they can get to a Millennium Falcon.
I know.
Man.
We saw a little glimpse in at E3 from Battlefront, the VR experience in the X-wing, which is great. And I think that's, like I said, I think that's one of the things that VR is doing great, is that they're actually like taking in these sort of bigger franchises, and it's sort of making more of a like it's drawing more people in because they want to experience that and they want to be part of a world that they've loved so much, like for so long, kind of thing.
That's very cool.
I was gonna ask, so in a hypothetical world, a couple of years down the road, VR is gonna be a huge thing. It's probably gonna be the new staple. It's gonna take over motion controls and stuff like that.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank goodness. So I want to ask, what would be your ideal game to play in VR?
I feel, at least from what we've seen right now, VR lends itself really well to horror games. And that kind of like eerie where you don't really necessarily have to have the really like crazy button mechanics and things, like where you actually have to have a lot of skill to play the game. And so you're more just in the environment and like observing it slowly. You don't have many things to do with the controller, kind of thing like that, walking around. And for me, I think that's, so far from what we've seen, that's kind of like the best. I've also seen someone play Pictionary, and so there's this drawing game for the Vive on the PC. And so basically someone chooses a category, or they choose a subject, and then they go into the Vive, and then the people who are on your team can see it on the TV, and you're in the Vive and you're drawing. And so that, I think that's
really cool.
Party games like that and horror games are really where it's going to show its strengths, at least for right now, until the technology evolves and people can do new things with it. So find a way to make it more accessible to games where, you know, controls are very important and it's very quick decisions. So
yeah, what about you, Slater?
Well, honestly, like just anything that can, I don't know, you can literally do so much. That, like, are you saying like what would I want to do from what they've shown, or like
no, like future wise, like different franchises and stuff like that. Like for instance, for me, what I was gonna say was I thought it'd be cool if I've been playing a little bit of Tales from the Borderlands. Yeah. And I thought like a Telltale game like that would be really cool. That would because the controls are so simple already. So you would just have that VR experience where you're actually in the world, and you could keep the controls that simple, but sort of throw in new stuff, like with hand controllers that they're using with the Vive. You could use that instead of using the clunky controls that they have on the controller.
I would love to play the Game of Thrones Telltale game. That
would
be a good game,
especially in VR. Would be sweet.
Anything Star Wars though, I would really love.
Oh yeah,
just anything.
Well, what I'm thinking too is they at E3 2 weeks ago or last week, they announced the VR experience for this upcoming like sort of X-Wing DLC pack, I guess. It's kind of like an expansion or something.
It's like a DLC mission.
Yeah, it's like a DLC mission. But I'm thinking, because they also announced that Battlefront 2 is going to come out, I believe, next year at some point. It'll probably be like fourth quarter kind of thing, like Christmas time.
Same time as the first one.
Yeah. I'm thinking that they might implement VR into more than just like a mission. I think that might be sort of like one of the game modes or something, or like something that they experiment with a little bit, like online multiplayer with VR.
I think that it would lend itself way better, at least to the technology we have right now, for what I've seen, to a single player mission. I think that would be like really where it would highlight, especially in a Star Wars world. Like, that would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you would do it with multiplayer, but it would be really complicated, because at that point, there wouldn't be that many adopters of VR, especially not on the, because the PlayStation would be the only console with VR at the time. I believe Xbox hasn't said anything yet for next year, so it would create complications that way, and different, and also I don't know if it would be an advantage or a disadvantage in terms of online multiplayer, and I don't know if you could really implement it properly to where it wasn't, but at the same time, sometimes you just have to try it, and then maybe it sucks for the first time, but then you learn it, right?
Well, I think that's what they're doing with this X-Wing mission, is like it's sort of like a test run. Like obviously it's just one single player mission from what I believe. Like, no one actually knows for sure, but it looked like it was just one single player mission. But I think that's sort of like their test. Like, they're testing the water, seeing what the feedback is. They're like still messing around with VR because VR is so new right now. It's such a new experience. And then from there, in a couple of years, I feel like they'll be able to branch out and actually like potentially make like a full like game mode for that, or like make like a full single player story or something like that.
I'm curious where they're gonna go with in the direction with fighting games.
I think it'd be cool to see like a boxing game in VR.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was gonna say like something like I know what's it called? Agent 47. What was that thing?
Oh, Hitman.
Hitman. Yeah, like that would be like, I don't know how they would do that.
The hand-to-hand combat kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that getting kind of like motion like sickness.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you can't really see those movie action sequences where you can't see what's going on. And,
unless like I can see where they have like maybe they have like have a red glow to where dangerous, so you turn your head and do it. But like I'm not sure.
But still, I've seen a few different sort of fighting styles. Like they had this zombie mode where these zombies were coming at and you had a sword and you got to like hack and slash and they come from all different angles.
Swords and stuff makes sense to me. I'm just like from like a hand fist
I think right now, because we're so early with this, I think they're just testing a bunch of different stuff and eventually they'll smoothen it out and be able to figure that out kind of thing.
So that Hitman kind of, it reminds me of a story of mine that I'd like to touch base on. So me and a friend of mine named McCrae, we went to the mall together in the 9th grade, hanging out in front, and some man in a black suit, red tie, bald, glasses, pudgy face though. He's got a pudgy face with like Skechers sneakers on.
Did he have a barcode on the back of his head?
No, he had a bright mustard yellow backpack. This guy walks up to us, looks at us and says, "Hey, do you guys hire the Hitman?" "What? Did you hire the Hitman?" No? Okay. "Do you want one though? Like $40K? No? Okay." And he walks off. I was never so confused in my entire life.
So he was a hitman.
Apparently.
You met a hitman.
Apparently this guy just walked up to us and he said, "Hey."
There's no way.
No.
Hitmen are way more careful, otherwise he's dead.
No, I swear, like there must have been like cameras or something.
I think he was just probably high on something. Something like that.
There's no way. Like the way this guy looked, there's no way this guy's killing anyone. If anything, this guy could get slapped once and start crying. Like this guy looked fragile, but like, oh man,
that's fucked that he walks.
This is the most dangerous kind. They seem fragile.
Yeah.
Walks up to some kids. Hey, do you want to kill off your teachers?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was curious. What was in his mustard yellow backpack that he was carrying around? Like,
how big was it? Was it like
it was a fat backpack.
Was it like a travel size kind of thing? Or
Yeah.
Just like,
like it was a big backpack.
Jeez. That was pretty fun.
$40K. That's not that bad.
Not
$40K.
Bad.
I would have thought it'd be way more.
Yeah.
Like for me, again, never mind. Stop.
I'm thinking. No, what were you gonna say?
I'm thinking.
Were you gonna name your prices?
So VR.
Alright, back.
I was gonna say, I'm not okay. I'm pretty sure this is one of those guys who are like vigilantes who like dress up in the night and go out and think that they can start like fight crime and stuff.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Yeah, like one of those like you see those guys and who's like, oh, I'm a superhero, and like they're practically block watching. They're not really helping anybody. Like I think this guy just saw like played that game. And he's like, yeah, I could totally do this.
Yeah, well, he was definitely high on something.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
Or he's just nuts.
Yeah.
He's just like mentally handicapped, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Fair enough.
I mean.
So VR.
Yeah, VR.
Yeah. Right, VR. Okay, so touching upon some of the tech, I looked up at a bunch of different videos and looked on different websites and stuff, and they're coming out with this new thing, which I think is pretty cool. It's called the Prio VR, and so basically it's like a full body suit.
Who makes this?
I don't know. It was just part of this video, science video about the top 5 things that are coming to VR in the future. So I don't know how far in the future this is going to be, but it's basically a suit that has 12. You can buy it in 2 different versions: the 12 body sensor or the 17 body sensor. 17 obviously has more
sensors.
Wow, wow, you nailed that one on the head.
Thanks,
but yeah, so it basically
don't call me Kieran for nothing.
You have a sensor on like each joint, so like your elbow, your knees, your feet, your hands, and then the face VR thing. And so basically it tracks all of your body movements, so it gets you a lot more immersed in the experience. So they showed off this game with it that was like a zombie game where you could like crouch, you could stand up, you could like peer around corners and stuff like that. You could basically run, kick, punch, do all that kind of stuff. So that kind of links back to what you were saying, Slater, about the hand-to-hand combat. I think that eventually when they improve the technology and stuff, there's going to be that kind of stuff where you have sensors on your whole body, so it can really like track exactly your movement.
I think that the next step past that is like the multi-directional treadmill.
Yeah, I saw that one too. Yeah. That was on the.
And so that's kind of where you can run in all directions. You're actually running in the game.
That's one thing though. Like it's hard to see that coming to a home.
Yeah, that'd be more of a kind of maybe even like an arcade style thing where you go and you do this. But of course, arcade games were once, and now they're all in our home. And they don't exist in an arcade. So.
Though, sorry to interrupt you. Like, I'm thinking like maybe they have like two circles on like you can put on the ground and like move that way. Like if you have like, say like I don't even know like the Wii Fit Trainer like that square box. But say it's like two different things where you can like step and stuff and like works that way and not as big.
Okay. Yeah. I know what you mean.
I can see that, but
the thing that I'm worried about VR is the fact that when the Wii came out, everyone was so excited about the motion controls, and it was like this big thing for like a year, and then after that, it kind of died, and no one really gave a fuck about the Wii anymore.
Well, that's because you can only do so much. Though.
You can only do so much, exactly, and that's why I'm kind of worried about some of these like I think VR is great, and I think the experience is great, but I feel like it's not something that I would go out and buy right now, at least.
Oh yeah, no.
Because it's limited right now, and then on top of that, with all this new gear coming out, I can't see people necessarily going out and buying all this new gear and all these new gadgets for their VR set, just because it's something that sounds cool in premise, but once you actually buy it, you're gonna play it like a few times and be like, wow, that was a really great experience, but I don't feel the need to play it all the time.
So I think that you're wrong. And here's why. So, I think that VR will be way bigger than motion controls ever were. Because motion controls kind of came to every console, but it wasn't really like a huge thing. I don't even know if it ever came to the PC, did it? There was no version of
don't know.
Anyways,
I don't think so.
It was never really a huge thing. It was more kind of like a concept that you could try it out. I think VR is actually a next movement. And the reason I say that is because VR porn is here. And so back in the day, no, I'm dead serious.
I know you are.
I know you are too.
So let me talk. So back when HD video was coming on equivalent DVD, right? Mm-hmm. There was two competitors. There was the Blu-ray and the HD DVD. Yep. And because porn decided they were going to put everything on Blu-ray, we now use Blu-rays, and no one's ever heard of an HD DVD. And so it actually dictates way more than we think it does. And because that it's become such a big movement there, I think that's why. I think it's perfect proof that it'll come here and it'll be big. And I can absolutely see so many people adopting. I know I've seen countless people who have adopted the HTC Vive, all kinds of different things, and they're really excited about buying all the different hardware and stuff. Just because we're not first generation adopters doesn't mean that I won't be a second generation adopter or third generation, you know? And so that's why I think that it'll be big.
I can agree with that. I'm talking more like right now, short term. Like I can't see myself personally buying it right now or any time until it becomes huge. And I still think that for me personally, if I bought one, I would use it a few times and then I'd put it on the shelf like my Wii currently. Or I think that it all the time.
Right now,
there are definitely going to be some people that are going to adopt it and totally be down and like into it. And I think it is something that the future, like especially not just games, but like you said with porn, and like eventually movies and stuff. I think they're going to adopt that kind of stuff, and it could become something a lot bigger in the future. But for like short term, like in the next 5 years, I can't see it being a huge thing just yet.
I think that the only one that I think would be a safe buy that would kind of be good and that would last for the future generation and still be able to hold up is the HTC Vive from what I've seen. I think the PlayStation VR, I think you're right, it'll be like the PlayStation Move until like the next generation comes out and it's more and it's better and better. Mm-hmm. But I think the HTC Vive is something that if people buy, they will be able to use it for a long time, and there will constantly be content for it, and you would never regret buying it, unless like you just didn't play video games or something. But if you really dedicated, like I'm going to play this, I think you would have a great time with it.
I don't see. Oh, so you can go.
No, you go. You.
Okay, I don't know if you guys heard, but like Pornhub's like as a company, they're a really good company when it comes to like, they're a great company.
Canadian company, by the way.
They
Montreal
like
based.
I don't know, like for every video like Planet or no like 100. It was something they Planet Tree or something.
They did all kinds of things. They did they did a campaign for breast cancer.
Yeah, they're doing, but right, they had a Kickstarter where they're trying to make money to send 2 porn stars to space to have the first ever porno made in space.
And
that's pretty cool.
That is becoming more and more real as we just landed that. We sent that. What was it called? I don't remember what it was called. We sent a spaceship into space, and then it came back and landed.
Really?
You guys never hear about that?
No.
That is like the biggest thing to happen in the past few months.
What the hell?
It's like the biggest thing to happen. That's huge because that saves so much money. The reason that people can't go to space because it's expensive as hell to go to space.
Yeah.
Now, because you can reuse a spaceship, this is the future of. This is the first time it's the catalyst of people actually being able to go to space.
Where the fuck have I been?
Dude, I have a news app. Where the fuck was that?
What the hell are you guys talking? That was a huge thing. It was a few weeks ago.
Was it a few weeks?
Months ago?
I'm Googling this shit.
Yeah. It's huge. So
weird.
they did it. So there was one company that did it a while ago, but they didn't go that far. I don't even know if they made it out of the atmosphere. But then recently, this other company did it. I'm sorry, I don't know the names, but they went out into space, came back, and then you can see that on the picture on Google.
Did they land anywhere?
Yeah, they landed.
In space.
In space? What the fuck are you gonna land in space?
Well, I'm saying like, did they go to like the moon, land, and then come back in that ship?
People haven't been to the moon since the 60s, brother.
I'm just asking because
really
I don't know
point
anything
to go.
about this.
If they even went at all.
No, I don't know
Jet
anything
fuel
about
doesn't
this.
melt steel beams.
I do.
No, I didn't know anything about this, so I wanted to know because I've been under a rock for the past couple months. Clearly,
what the hell are you doing? No, they just went out into space. I'm not sure exactly how far.
I'm
pretty far though from the picture, and then they came back and landed the spit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously you have the launch sequence, and then the pieces drop off, right? But then you were still able to come back to Earth and safely land that thing because usually they just drop it in the ocean, and then it's just gone, and then
that's very
all that technology is just gone. So I think that's like the big thing.
Would that be then what they're doing with this porn thing, where they like fly up into space as they're traveling, they bang, and then they come back to Earth and land?
I would assume it'd be like kind of an orbit thing, and then they'd come back down, or like maybe they. I think they're either trying to go to the space station or they're trying to just go up there. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but
I think that
realistically
that's
how they're gonna do it.
Going to the space station is like, I believe the space station orbits at 40,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface.
Okay.
Like that's kind of like the Earth's orbit where most satellites are and stuff like that. Obviously, there's different levels of that, but it's around 40,000 kilometers. I don't think that I think that would be way too expensive of a trip just to film a half an hour video. But I think that realistically, you just go. It would be kind of a similar trip to what was just taken, but I think it's maybe 15 years in the future before we actually get there. Before it's cheap enough for a company like that to afford it.
Yeah.
Because right now, going to space is like billions and billions.
Very expensive, yeah.
But it's getting cheaper.
That's why they're starting a Kickstarter.
Yeah, you're not going to get $1 billion on Kickstarter.
No, I know, but just saying. That's why.
Unless you had backing from another company.
Doesn't matter who you are. That's something you should get behind. Like that's just one thing.
I'm absolutely all about that.
Yeah.
You want people to bang in space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be cool.
Make those space babies.
Well,
not exactly
if you were in space, you'd be floating while you're having sex. So basically, there'd be zero gravity, correct? Like you're
zero is
how would that be though?
Zero gravity.
But I'm saying like you'd be like
theoretically,
technically be floating in space. So you could be like upside down banging at one point and like spinning
you do that
around
underwater,
and stuff, right?
though.
What?
You do that underwater.
Well,
similar, but not zero gravity. Obviously,
yeah, zero gravity would be a different thing.
But it's kind of similar.
Huh? That's weird. I think that's weird to think about.
Yeah.
Like especially like. If you spunked, like if you
spunked,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Quite the verb there.
When you're done, like you know how in most pornos they do the cum shot at the end and stuff like that.
So VR.
He was. No, I just want to say.
VR cum shot.
If you
If
did a cum shot in space, if you did a cum shot in space, then it would float around, and you'd have to have the girl potentially like
way
walk
longer
into
shot.
it, like swim into it, kind
Swim?
of. Well, you know what I mean. Like just picture it.
Float into it?
Like he's about to spunk. he ejaculates. It kind of like floats in the air because there's no gravity. And then the girl, because it has to be a cum shot, it can't just like.
Why does it have to be a girl?
Well, sure, the guy, whatever, it doesn't matter. But then they float into it, and then it hits their face.
I've just pictured the ants from that one.
Lucas Jackman, everybody.
No, I don't know. I think that's
God.
cool to think about.
Would you go to space if you could?
Absolutely.
Would I come back?
Yeah.
Like,
return trip to
Oh yeah,
space.
absolutely.
Sure, I would do it.
Would you go all the way to the space station? Or would you just want to go kind of in space so you're floating?
No, I'd like to visit the space station.
I think it'd be cool to visit the space station. Yeah. But then again, it depends where I'm at in my life, right? Like, hold on, like
damn.
No, just
Hello,
because
darkness, my old
because
friend.
because space, it's
The final frontier.
it's a very, very long process to actually, like, you'd have to go through all this like training stuff beforehand, so that'd probably take like a year to like prep and everything like that. Then you'd be up in space. That takes probably, like, depending on how far you go, it could take a really long time to get out there and come back.
You're funny,
So
man.
so
You're
depending on where I'm at in my life,
You're
I don't know
funny.
if I'd be able to take off like a couple years to go space
To
travel.
go to space?
Yeah.
If I was ever working and I told my boss I'm going to space, I'm leaving my job, I would have no problem doing that.
Yeah, my boss would look at me like, yeah, good luck, fucking Major Tom. Get your ass back to work.
See, when you put it like that, obviously, like, if I were like, yeah, I'm gonna go to space.
Or if I was a boss of someone and they said, yeah, I'm sorry, I need to leave, I'm going to go to space. And I'm like, okay, prove it. And then you can absolutely have a leave to go to space.
See, when you put it like that, it makes it sound really cool, and I would totally do it. But then,
But it's a lot of work and you're not willing to put in the work to go to space.
no, I think it'd be cool to go to space. It's just when I think about it right now, it's like, oh, I wouldn't be able to do that because I have a lot of things that I want to work on. But then when you verbalize it, like if you're actually in the scenario telling your boss, yeah, I'm going to go to space, then it's like, okay, yeah, I probably could actually
I'm just
do
thinking,
that.
like, from, like, the person, like, if you're friends with someone who just goes to space, like, you just kind of be like, man, like, Lucas is in space right now. That's fucking weird. But just think about it, like, you're looking up, like, that asshole's up there.
He's somewhere.
That is very weird.
That ugly fuck is up there in space.
hey, man. Beauty comes in all shapes and sizes, Slater.
So does ugly. So VR.
VR. So getting back to VR. Right now, apparently less than 1% of all the computers in the world can properly run VR.
So I have this PC specs here that are required to run the HTC Vive. So I saw an article, and it basically said it's basically like creating a VR computer for $2,500. Isn't that bad at all for a computer? Like,
yeah,
you could buy a PC $10,000 easy. So here are the PC specs. So for a GPU, NVIDIA GTX 970 or equivalent, or higher, obviously. And I looked that up, $300 for that graphic card. So that's a very base graphics card.
Okay.
CPU Intel i5. That's what our computers are running right now. Minimum 4 gigabytes of RAM, probably more. Both our computers have more than that right now.
Yeah.
You have to have HDMI ports, and for the HTC Vive, you need USB 2.0 or greater. But for the Oculus Rift, you need, I believe, you need USB 3.0 ports to play it. So that was the difference between the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive.
Okay.
But other than that, pretty much similar specs, and then Windows 7 or greater. So, like, really, that's not crazy.
Crazy, but then on top of that, you have to drop the $800 for the Vive and all that. So
Well,
ultimately,
the Vive is $1,100.
The Vive's $1,100.
Yes, Canadian dollars.
Oh, okay. Whatever site I was on, it said it was $800.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck kind of site you were on.
Yeah, I have no idea. So $1,100. That's even more. So that means that with the $2,500 computer,
yeah,
plus the $300 graphics card.
No, the $2,500 includes the graphics card.
Oh, it does?
Of course, it's a computer.
I didn't know if you had to buy one extra on top of that. That like
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the point of the whole thing.
$2,500 plus the $1,100 for the Vive. So you're looking at about $3,600. $3,600 for that experience.
Yeah.
who's gonna buy that right now?
Absolutely, there are so many people who spend $10,000 on their PC just to play games that aren't in VR.
Well, it's true, but it's like.
But so that's not like a.
Lucas
not a valid argument.
Lucas didn't know Canadian bills made a rainbow.
Yeah, also Lucas is. Lucas also doesn't know left from right.
Sometimes I'm getting better. Come on.
He doesn't know how to hold it
all the time.
Give me credit, guys.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But from what I saw when I did my research, the three big VR sets are the Vive, PlayStation VR, which isn't out yet, and the Oculus Rift. Is that kind of right? Or am I totally off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have the specs for all three of those. So I think we should go through them.
Sure.
So it's just like kind of the main differences. So the PlayStation VR starting, the display is a 5.7 inch 1920 by 1080p display total. So it would be half on each eye, right? So so it would be half of 1920 by 1080 on each eye, right?
Okay.
And then so it's able to have a frequency of the display of 120 hertz or 90 hertz, and the field of view is 100 degrees. So that's the only difference, and the difference between that and the HTC Vive was the HTC Vive has 110 degrees, but 10 degrees isn't really that big of a difference, I don't think, to me.
Yeah. So
that's not really that big of a deal in terms of field of view, but the HTC Vive has a better display. It's 2160 by 1200 total resolution again across both displays, capable of outputting in 90 hertz, the refresh rate. So the PlayStation VR is 549 Canadian dollars, and what you get for that is I'm pretty sure you just get the VR set.
Yeah.
And also on the website it said VR software is sold separately. So I don't know if it actually costs more than that in order to have the VR software on your PS4.
Potentially.
It didn't really have that much information on the website. Obviously it's not out yet, so we don't know. Yeah. But that's interesting. So it might be more than $549.
With PlayStation VR, do they have sensors that comes with the kit? Because I know with the Oculus and the Vive, they both have one has the one sensor and then one has two.
So you mean when you say sensor, you mean controller, right?
No, I'm talking sensors. Because
so what do you mean? Because sensor is a lot.
Because with the Oculus, it has one sensor that is right in front of the system, where you're wearing the VR headset, it can track your movement up and down, left and right, horizontally, vertically, diagonally. With the
you're talking about a sensor within the headset.
Is it within the headset?
Is that what you're saying? You're telling me the story here, man.
No, I'm saying that there's one sensor. It's like the Wii motion control thing where it has the
like
sensor bar. So it's like the bar, but it's a little tiny thing. Yeah.
It's in the room. That connects to the.
Yes. Okay. And then the Vive has two. So you put one in one corner of the room, one in the other, and then it captures the whole sort of 360 look and stuff. Does the PlayStation VR have a sensor that comes with it, or is it two sensors? Or
I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly, but it didn't say anything about that. On the website, from what I saw, I could be an idiot, which happens all the time, but I think it just connects via Bluetooth to your PlayStation, and then obviously through the VR software and stuff like that, and then tracks it using an accelerometer and gyroscope.
Huh.
So also the PlayStation VR it uses the 6-axis motion system, which is what they use in all their controllers since the PlayStation 3, I believe. Mm-hmm. So it has 3 gyroscope sensors and 3 accelerometer sensors. The HTC Vive had 32 sensors, including 360-degree motion tracking, and 360-degree motion tracking is obviously due to the two external what do we call them? You call sensors, I guess, that are in the room that help track your headset that aren't just based on the accelerometer and gyroscope. I'm not sure if that's exactly how the PlayStation works, but from what I saw on the website, that's kind of how it works. Okay. Whereas the Vive is tracked by external sensors in the room that can track your motion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also, the HTC Vive has a front-facing camera, which is very different from the PlayStation VR, which has nothing like that. Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons why I said that it would be better for the future, because for me, the front-facing camera is not only facilitates not only VR but AR as well, which is augmented reality, which is, I think we can all agree that is way cooler than VR.
Yeah.
Because that's taking your environment that you're currently in and augmenting it to something different. Obviously, we all saw the Microsoft event a few years ago. I'm not sure how many years ago it was, a couple at least. But where they had the guy in his kitchen and he was manipulating
one thing. Yeah, wasn't that Google Glass or?
No, that was absolutely Microsoft, I think. And then they were playing. He played Minecraft on his table and stuff like that.
Well, that was HoloLens, and that was shown at E3.
Yeah, they are making a VR Minecraft game.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool.
I think that will lend itself really well too.
That'll be a really cool one, especially because
Minecraft isn't getting enough money.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, God save the Queen.
But I think that's going back to games. I think that's a game that'll really lend itself well.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah. I was gonna. Is there?
There's just one more thing I gotta say. Talk about the Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
It had very similar specs to the HTC Vive. I didn't write them all down, but it's $599 US.
So it's cheap.
US dollars. The other HTC Vive $1,100 Canadian dollars. So it'd be more like 800 Canadian dollars kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
interesting.
Shout out to
but it does come with, again, the HTC Vive comes with the 2 external sensors and 2 controllers, and then the headset itself, and the Oculus Rift just comes with the Oculus, I believe.
The thing about the Vive too, I might be totally getting this wrong, but the thing about the Vive is that the controller is broken into 2 halves, whereas with the Oculus, I believe you're just using like a Microsoft controller or like an Xbox One controller or whatever.
So for the Oculus, it's like that.
Yeah,
okay.
Whereas the Vive is split up into 2, so you actually have the one. You have one for each hand, kind of thing.
It also
kind of cool.
The HTC Vive comes with 3 games.
Oh,
when you buy it, it's included in the price.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what games? Like
it was the drawing one that I talked about earlier.
Yep.
I don't remember what the other 2 were.
Oh, okay.
But they were kind of like basic kind of
games.
But I think it still looks like fun to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like a cool experience.
If somebody else had that, I'd go over and play it.
Yeah, you wouldn't buy it right now?
I'm a poor college student.
Well, no, I know, but like hypothetically, if you had the money, would you buy it?
I had the money?
Yeah.
Or would you wait?
I think
that's a tough question.
There's a lot of there's not huge games for it right now. Like obviously, there's a lot coming. There's a lot coming though, but there's still games out there that'll be like it's just like a fun experience to like just be like holy crap, like I'm in this world.
And also, I think that when HTC or when VR support comes to mods and things like that within like Gary's mod stuff like that, that's when the PC really is going to shine. And so I think that when I pick up an HTC Vive, if I had the money, sure. Because I think that there's way more support on the PC than there would be on a console.
I would love to see it.
Because there's way more independent developers within Steam and stuff like that can implement VR. I'm not sure how hard it is. I have no idea. But a lot of people are doing it, and there's a lot of games out there already on Steam that you can play.
Interesting.
VR.
I would love to see a VR Sims.
Yeah, that'd be kind of
hilarious.
Cool. But it'd be kind of dumb too.
Yeah.
Why don't you just live your life?
Why don't you just yeah.
It's way cooler in real life. Actually, no, it's not. What am I saying? Real life sucks.
Well, yes.
Life sucks and then you die.
Actually, I don't think that would work because you're practically you aren't the character. You're controlling the character. That's usually why it's a third person. Yeah, never mind. That's dumb. I shut my mouth.
What about
shut my dumb whore mouth.
What about a VR GTA?
Oh,
that'd be pretty cool, especially in like the first person mode.
You think that's a
I want to touch upon. Sorry to cut you off there, but I want to touch upon a really cool game because Grand Theft Auto is kind of like it's like a bad game in some people's like not bad in the sense controversial. Yes, okay. Yes. Sorry,
bad game.
No, it's not. It's not a bad game. No, I like GTA a lot and I play it quite frequently. But it's controversial in the fact that like there's lots of killing, there's lots of like violence, there's lots of like hookers there, and there's lots of like
hookers and blow, man.
Hookers and blow, yeah, like sex in the game, which is like was a controversial topic back in the day when like it first came out for Vice City. I think it was Vice City. That was the first one that you could have sex in.
Sure.
Anyway, but there was this other game that they were talking about that might be coming to VR where you have just committed a murder and you're in this little apartment room and you have evidence all around and there's a cop that comes to your door and he knocks on the door and it's all in VR and basically you're going around the room trying to cover up everything from the murder. Cool. And it's just like it's like a 10-minute experience. That's all you do. Then cool. The police comes in, you walk through it with the guy and then you kind of like deal with that. I think it was a really cool sounding game, but I think that in some senses, VR games like that and like GTA, I think it might be pushing it a little too far.
In terms of what?
In terms of like
being too realistic.
Yeah, like I think
more of a simulator for killing people.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked that there's like this killing simulator where you're covering up a murder and it's all in VR and you're experiencing it and you're the guy that like.
And there will be people like because there's there's people that are becoming developers of these games and that they're making like just like these random games that are like you could probably like put it on for 5 seconds like deep sea like you're with like fish and stuff. there are going to be people that make some very controversial games like that because there's so many like things you can do with it.
I guess there's always that argument though that if this is something that it's like you're a little bit loony, you have to kill someone. Like if there's something you have to do, is this something that can push that off? That can kind of I've heard this argument with in Japan they have child porn that's cartoon. It's not real. It's cartoon.
That's weird.
So is that it's obviously it's really weird and child porn is awful thing.
Yeah.
So everyone's trying to stop it. Obviously, it's been a huge crusade for a long time. But so is it okay to have that be a cartoon if it prevents real child porn from being made? It's like that age-old. I don't know the answer, but it's just it's kind of the same, really know the answer. But it's just the same argument, right? Is that something that can prevent it, or is it something that's going to contribute to it?
I don't see that though. Like North America, I do not see that coming into North America. I don't see there would be a lot of support for it if that would.
Oh no! That's not okay here.
No,
but I'm saying, in other places it is.
Yeah,
which is kind of fucked to think about.
It depends on how you see it.
Yeah.
I don't know the answers. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it could be contributing, but it also
could be a deterrent.
Could be a deterrent. Yeah.
It's like okay, well.
I guess only time will tell with either. No, I know, but I'm saying with like VR too. I think only time will tell if like games like that will contribute to.
Yeah, it's a really point of view thing. Like
it's also really hard to measure that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's because we live in a pretty messed up world where people do some bad stuff, and it's like how do you say that this is necessarily the cause of that, right?
Yeah, that's true. So Sundance last year they released their very first VR movie.
Wow.
So it was an animated film that was a 5-minute movie that was all in VR.
Oh, cool.
I looked into it a little bit. It kind of it sounded like it was more like a video game just on rails, where you're just kind of like looking around the world and everything is like, yeah. It's what it is basically. Yeah. Do you think that kind of stuff is gonna get traction? Like, do you think that more movies are gonna lean towards VR?
It's tough because the idea of a movie is that this is the director's vision. This is what he wants you to see. He or she, I guess, wants you to see. This is what he wants you to see. But then, in a VR world, that's a more subjective thing. So a lot of different people can get a lot of different things out of it. I'm not sure that would really. It would be hard to have complete control over the environment, the experience that you have in a movie in VR, right? Because maybe something crazy happens off to the right, but you're looking to the left and you don't see it.
True.
Whereas in a movie, if the director wants you to see this is a very important part, then you see it.
Yeah.
So I think that it's interesting. I don't know if it would ever replace.
Yeah, I think it would replace at all.
I think that it would be something different that people could experience in a different way.
Would you have movement in the VR?
No, it wouldn't be like a video game.
No, it's not.
That's
there's no movement. It's just you're wearing the Oculus.
Okay,
on
I was gonna say because
like, and you're just looking around.
Because that makes more sense. Because if you're moving, like, there could be a total plot thing there, and some person's like, oh, look at that castle over there. We're gonna walk over there.
Well, I think the short film, by the way, is called Lost. And
what, a plane crash?
No, and I think the thing that they were saying about the film was that it's on rails to an extent, so you can look around and each person's film will be a little bit like the length could change kind of thing.
Oh, really?
So I think the thing that they're doing with that is you can look around the world, but then when you look a certain direction, that's when whatever the director wanted you to see is going to happen, and like, you know what I mean? So like, in the left-hand corner, like
just waiting for you to look right before it actually happens.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, because they said in the interview with the director that it could be a 5-minute experience or it could be like a 7-minute experience, depending on who's viewing it. Kind of thing. So I think it's kind of interesting, but I don't think it's gonna pick up traction. Like it'll be something cool for like the next couple of years where they experiment with, and it's like, oh yeah, we're trying all these new things. Like, oh, that was a cool experience and stuff. Yeah. But I don't think in like 20 years we're gonna be like buying VR movies on Blu-ray or whatever on 4K, whatever. I don't know.
Can't put 4K on Blu-ray. It's space.
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying different things.
I want to see what they do with superhero movies in VR. I feel like they could do something really cool with that.
I think it'd be interesting. I don't know how that would be.
I wonder if you could do kind of a comic within VR.
Oh yeah.
Right, a comic in VR to where you kind of are looking through the different panels kind of thing, or you can kind of like look to the I don't know exactly how you would do it, but I just had the idea right now.
I can see it more being like an AR thing where like you can flip through the pages, but like holding like a blank book out in front of you, and then you select what you want to read, kind of like a tablet kind of thing, and then you just flip through the pages. You know what I mean?
Although
does that make sense?
seems a bit overkill. Like, why don't we just buy a book?
Well, I know it's a little bit overkill, but like AR is kind of the future, and so is VR.
I think that's an interesting concept. Kind of, I could see it more like you have the book, and you have all these it's a comic book, and you have all these panels, and then you interact with one panel, and then it shows you the video.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
And then you kind of go through different.
You could touch on the panel, and it'll kind of like. Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how AR works in terms of touching or like interacting, how you interact, but.
Yeah, I think right now we don't really know enough about AR.
It's not really that. We don't have it yet. So.
Yeah, we don't have it yet, and yeah. The other thing that I was going to mention about VR, which I think will be kind of cool experience, and I think that this is where they should go with VR, is I think it'd be cool if they did a sports subscription service once VR is kind of polished. So basically, example like football game, right? You get right in the middle of the field, like the middle row seats, sort of average seats or whatever. They have a 360 camera that they place in premium seating. Then the two seats in front of you and the two seats beside you, they are reserved for like the camera people, so they won't like they're dealing with the camera. So they're live streaming this, and then the people that have VR headsets and have this VR subscription can then have the VR on and be watching the football game and basically like turn their head, do whatever they want, kind of.
It's kind of a pay-per-view thing you do from.
Kind of, yeah. But I can kind of see them doing something like that, like with hockey and with like certain sports. For sure.
Sports.
Well, yeah, but like certain ones, like I can't see them really doing it for golf because it's not like you're not sitting in one specific spot. But I can see them. Around. Yeah, but I can see them with like hockey and football and soccer and like baseball. You having like dedicated seats for these VR experiences.
Even like UFC wrestling, you probably do that too.
Yeah, and I think that could be the future. Kind of thing. Like,
you'll be watching a Patriots game, and like then they'll start doing some like be able to touch and stuff too. Like, oh wow, you can feel Tom Brady's ball. It's even deflated. Wow.
No, but I think that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be interesting, but I don't think it would ever replace the real experience.
I don't think it would replace the real experience, but I'm saying
you have to sell it at a cheaper price.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Kind of like the pay-per-view type.
Of course, but I'm saying for people like for you who's an Alabama fan. If
I don't get to go to Alabama that
often. You don't really get to go to Alabama that often, or like for someone that like for instance can't leave their home because of like a disability or something's going on, stuff like that. It'd be kind of cool for them to like experience that, and almost like it's almost like you're there kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of the closest thing you can get. It's the closest thing being there.
Yeah, which cool. I think will be a really cool experience, and I think that's one direction that VR should go. I don't know if they'll ever do that. I
think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I haven't really heard if they're even tampering with that right now, but I think that in like 10 years, I think it'd be cool if they started.
I think that if VR picks up enough pace, then TSN or ESPN or whatever will absolutely pick that up. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. I wonder how you could implement VR in like a Disneyland setting.
That'd be cool.
Well, there's like roller coasters and stuff too. They could do like simulations.
Yeah, I remember when I was in grade 8. We did this 4D experience thing in the mall. It was basically like a roller coaster in the mall. You weren't actually in the mall. You weren't actually in the roller coaster. They were just kind of pretending. And they would shoot like things on you and like throw spiders on you. Not every real spiders, whatever. But
it'd like simulate the feeling.
Yeah,
they have that at Universal Studios where they have a showing of this like short Shrek film, and it was a 4D experience where it was 3D, but then they'd have like spiders come down. And Shrek would like wipe the spiders down and like they'd crawl around your feet.
And then they would simulate on the ground.
Yeah, and there's like a waterfall like the dragon would go through and like water would spray on you and stuff like that. Really cool stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to do with in VR.
I think it'd be really cool if like amusement parks, parks started tackling that kind of stuff.
No, even like the Mummy ride at Universal. It has the Beatles come down on you.
Oh really?
Yeah, which is pretty spooky. Don't enjoy those.
Not a big fan, but
a little spooky, but you know. So I think we should wrap up soon. But I just want to quickly tell a quick little story.
Right.
So for those of you who are you can tune out now and then
No, it's a pretty sweet story. So anyway, I was on set a couple days ago at on a show called Opus, which is in their first season, and I was
Negative?
No, just Opus. It's this new show starring Elijah Wood and a couple other people, but Elijah Wood's sort of the main star. And so I was on set, and as a PA, you normally have different lockups. So when you're filming outside on like a busy street, you'd have one person per kind of like corner to make sure that when you're actually filming and rolling, no pedestrians like walk on the street or whatever. So originally I was at this lockup right beside Crafty's, which was like the greatest because Crafty's, for the people that don't know film terminology, it's where all of the craft services food is. So you could basically just munch all day.
Do you get to eat?
And stuff. Yeah. You can eat, and it's all free. All of it's great. Anyway, so I was right beside Crafty's with this other guy, and I was like, damn, like this is the best lockup ever. Like it's pretty late at night. I'm gonna be a little bit hungry, so I can keep eating. I can like have a coffee, keep myself awake, all that kind of stuff, right? And then my key PA, so the person that's in charge, she came over and was like, hey, one of you two has to come with me. We're gonna move you to a different lockup. And since the other guy had been there longer, they picked me to move. And I was kind of chapped because I was like, fuck, like I don't want to move or whatever. So they moved me.
You grabbed a huge bag of donuts and you took off?
No, I wish, but Crafty's wasn't set up at that point. Like it was just being set up.
Oh.
So I didn't get to bring any food with me or any coffee or any of that. So I was pretty chapped. So they moved me to this inside the police station because the scene that they were filming was just going outside the police station. So they moved me inside to make sure that no one from like the makeup team or whatever was like walking in the background of the shot or anything like that. So I had to keep everyone to the one side of the room. But anyway, so I walk inside the police station and I see, who do I see? Frodo Baggins himself, Elijah Wood. I'm like, whoa, this is such a weird experience. Like my heart kind of sunk because I think it was the first time that like I've seen like real actors like super
like
close,
a celebrity.
like, yeah, like with Power Rangers when I worked on that, I saw some people, but because they weren't like huge names, and they were wearing the costumes and stuff, it was a little bit different. Like the experience was a little bit like less personal. Whereas with this, like Elijah Wood, someone who I've like watched his movies growing up as a kid with Lord of the Rings films, was like standing right in front of me. Yeah, so I was like, damn, like I was like, this is sick as fuck, right? So I told myself, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that I get a picture with him because that was my goal of the night, right? So I tried sniping a couple like Instagram and like Snapchat shots and stuff like that, right? Just so I could like prove it to people.
Pictures.
Yeah, just so I could like prove it to people that it was him because I knew that if I had
nude Frodo Baggins.
No, I knew that if I had told this story to anyone and I didn't have proof, they wouldn't believe me, kind of thing.
Fuck,
why not?
Take a photo
I don't know. I just feel like if I told you guys that, you wouldn't believe me.
I don't believe you.
But anyway, so I'm taking all these pictures and stuff like that, and then finally, like near the end of the night, I think it was like 3:00. We ended up wrapping, and I was like, okay, great. I can now take my picture with Elijah, right? So I go outside. He's like talking to a couple of people. Like,
you're like, hey, Eli!
No, he's talking to a few people. And I'm like about to like be like, oh, hey Elijah. So I pull out my phone to get my phone ready. It's dead. And I'm like, fuck me. If I hadn't taken all those Snapchats earlier in the night, my phone would have been fine. But it was already low battery when I got into the police station, so I wasn't able to get that picture.
Though if you
I have pictures.
I don't believe you.
I have the Snapchats and stuff, but they're all from like far away, and there's only one that was super close, but I posted on Twitter.
Though if you didn't say your phone didn't die and you asked, if he said no, I would have laughed really hard at you.
Well, he probably would have, and it would have been definitely like an unprofessional thing to do. So I'm kind of glad.
Too.
I'm kind of glad that my phone died, but in the same sense, I was like, fuck, like my mission, I failed my mission, like. The one thing I told myself I was going to do, I didn't do. And yeah, so, but it was still cool. That
I got to simply take a photo with Frodo Baggins.
And that's a good place to end.
Yeah, and on that note, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.